home. It's time for the MIPA Award.
Hello, welcome to what will be the first in a series of award celebrations from the Michigan Interscholastic Press Association. Today we're going to be celebrating some of our special recognition awards. My name is Jeremy Steele and I'm the Executive Director of MIPA. Normally at this time I would be with you all in a big hall of the Lansing Center with everybody screaming and shouting. Instead, obviously, we're tuning in to each other over the internet from the comfort of whatever's your most comfortable place. Still, I think we can have a lot of fun today, and obviously we're going to be celebrating a lot of great journalism and, of course, people who help make great journalism happen in our schools all over the state of Michigan. I'm so excited that you're here with me wherever it is that you are. It's important during these times that we find ways to connect with each other. And over the next couple weeks, MIPA will be connecting with you through a series of these award presentations online. Next week, we hope to roll out our individual category contest results. And once those are all released, we'll announce our Spartan Award winners. Today, though, we celebrate some really special people. We're going to honor our student journalist staff, announce our scholarship recipients, celebrate our John Field Award winner for his contributions to scholastic, party with our Admit Year, and of course, announce our Golden Pen Award winner. Other surprises. Before we get started, I want to take a few minutes to thank some who make today happen. There are that work really hard throughout the school but do events like this, and of course our in-person events as well. I want to start by thanking three important organizations: the School of Journalism at Michigan State University, LifeTouch, and the Argus Press. These three organizations have made substantial financial contributions to MIPA this year so that we can do events to connect with students and teachers in the journalism education community. I also want to thank some folks who help volunteer their time and energy to MIPA. These are the board members of the Michigan Interscholastic Press Association, and they volunteer their time to make lots of things happen. So let's give a shout out to these folks. MIPA's president is Ava Butzu of Grand Blanc High School. First vice president is Caitlin Edgerton of Grosse Pointe South High School. Second vice president is Christina Hammett of Charles Stockwell Preparatory Academy. Our secretary is Marilyn Hess of Plainwell High School. Our treasurer is Betsy Vanderzee of Pioneer High School. We have 4 trustees on our board. They are Sarah Ashman of Holt High School, Lydia Cadena of Novi High School, Elizabeth Sear of Stockbridge High School, and Cody Harrell of East Lansing High School. Also on our board are our newspaper chair, C.E. Sickinga of Grand Haven High School, our yearbook chair, Pam Bunka of Fenton High School, our digital media chair, Tracy Anderson of Ann Arbor Community High School, and our video chair, Jamie Flanagan of Fraser High School. Also a big thanks to Tim Morley of Inland Lakes High School, who serves as our state's director for the National Journalism Education Association. JEA is a great partner with MIPA and provides outstanding resources and programs for advisors and students. We also have to thank the 80-plus people who showed up on our judging day this year to help us judge MIPA contest entries. We couldn't do any of this without you. I've got another group of folks that I want to recognize and thank before we launch into the main part of our program. Last year, MIPA launched a new group to help link students with each other into journalism resources. That group is called the All-State Student Advisory Cohort, and we invite every media program in MIPA to nominate at least one student from your staff to get involved. Information on how you can become part of the cohort is available on MIPA's website. This group of students from across Michigan has participated in video and Twitter chats about current journalism topics, GroupMe text conversations about issues they face at their school, and they've done site visits to newsrooms and journalism programs at colleges across the state of Michigan. They are also a sounding board for MIPA, and most importantly, a resource for each other. We want to thank and recognize several members of the cohort who helped keep things active and keep the group engaged this past academic year. Here's cohort advisor Elizabeth Sear.
For the second year now, I've experienced the joy of leading the MIPA All-State Student Advisory Cohort. What a collective of whip-smart, inquisitive student journalists. They report, write, design, they photograph, broadcast, publish. It's really some of the most compelling work in the country. But what they do in the cohort's even more special. They give. They share what they know with each other. The give and take of knowledge and inspiration in this group poises them all for brilliant futures, no matter what they decide to do. For particularly thoughtful, witty collaboration this past year, I'd like to honor 3 cohort students. Julie Hang of Huron High School in Ann Arbor, Danny Keene of the Cheryl Stockwell Preparatory Academy in Brighton, and Morgan Womack from Grand Haven High School in Grand Haven, Michigan. Thanks to everybody in the cohort for a great year and all of your beautiful collaboration. And now I'd like to turn it over to Jeremy Steele, Executive Director of MIPA, as we continue today's celebrations.
Thanks, Elizabeth. We'll have a certificate for each one of you that we'll mail to your home. And thanks again to every member of our student advisory cohort. It's been wonderful getting to know you this year, and we're looking forward to next year's group. And now to introduce today's Keynote at Home speaker. Devin Scillian is one of the most recognizable faces in the Detroit media market as an evening news anchor at WDIV-TV Channel 4 in Detroit. Devin began his journalism career in Kansas. His career has also taken him to stations in Illinois, Texas, Oklahoma City, and of course, he landed in Detroit in 1995. He's also the author of 19 children's books, and he's a musician and songwriter. You may also have seen Devin playing a journalist in various films, including Scream 4, or providing special reports on The Ellen Show. MIPA is excited to welcome Devin Scillian to today's celebration.
Hi there, friends. I so wish that I could be with you in person, although with all of the changes that have gone on in all of our lives, I imagine me being there with you in person is like really way low on, on your list of things that you wish were sort of normalized. But I really do wish that I could be there to talk to you all and see you in person and look at the faces of the people who are moving into this profession that I think is so vitally important. I always have thought that, but I think right now we're being reminded especially of just what a critical role that the press plays in America. You know, it's interesting. Everybody has their own sort of reason for getting into journalism. Some people want to be you know, the kind of reporter that holds politicians' feet to the fire. Other people want to be consumer advocates and kind of fight for the little guy and stand up to people who are sort of getting pushed around. That's really important. Some people really like the investigative reporting of going through tons of paperwork and trying to solve a bit of a puzzle and going through a mystery. I wanted to get into journalism really because I liked the idea of being the town crier. Simply the person who tells people what's going on in the world around them. People ask me about my journalism heroes, and I have some modern ones, of course. People like Peter Jennings, who was an anchorman for ABC News for years. But you know, I always joke that my journalism hero was Homer, and people think Homer Simpson? No, Homer, who wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey. Now, of course, he was taking great flights of fancy with what he was writing, but the Iliad and the Odyssey were sort of these chronicles for people designed to I guess I would say apply an artfulness of storytelling to the chronicling of time and to the events that make up our lives. And that's really what I wanted to get into journalism to do. And that's, I think, the part that is often very underrated about what we do. And that's the simple act of telling people what's going on in the world around them. And right now, isn't that the most vital thing that's happening? We're watching our ratings right now go through the roof, simply because, and it's not because people, want to know what's going on with Kim and Kanye. It's not because people want to find out what's happening with Harvey Weinstein's case. It's not because people want to know what's going on in some investigative piece of reporting that we've been doing. It's because people need to know what's happening in their community around them. They need to know what's happening in their city and in their state. And they need reliable, accurate, and timely information about all that we know about this virus that has, of course, caused such upset and pandemonium in so many ways. We really haven't seen anything quite like this. In my career as a journalist, I've covered a lot of big sort of crazy happenings. I was anchoring the news at Channel 4 in Oklahoma City, not in Detroit, but in Oklahoma City 25 years ago when the Murrah building was blown up. The Oklahoma City bombing was very much a part of my fabric of understanding then, coming to understand how important it was to be the link of information to people in the community. And the way that a television station, and I think to also other degrees radio stations and newspapers and magazines, can become a kind of a community chest for neighborhoods and cities and states. And so I developed, I wouldn't say that I was fortunate to go through that because it was gosh awful, but covering that story, covering a lot of natural disasters, I spent a lot of time in Tornado Alley growing up and then working, and so understanding the way that a natural event can so change the course of so many lives in a town or a community. And so for a long time, I've had this real appreciation of this vital flow of information and how important it is. And I've seen it reinforced so many times, and never more so than right now. So those of you who are thinking about journalism as a career, I certainly would encourage that. I know that it's also a very difficult time to get into journalism because profit pressures have made it such that newspapers are really, really struggling, and television stations, even though we're staying afloat and of course right now doing gangbuster ratings, but we're trying to do more with less. Our staffs are smaller too. We don't have as many positions as we need to, even though the fact that the amount of time that we're filling per day with news has not shrunk. In fact, in most cases, it's expanded. And so trying to do 6 hours of television news a day on a skeleton crew has gotten tough. Reporters used to be expected to go out and turn one story a day, 2 stories a day, and now sometimes they're being asked to do more than that. And maybe the stories don't have anything to do with each other, so they're having to go all over the place to try and cobble together 2 completely different stories and have them fully sourced and vetted and make sure that they've got all the everything accurate. So it can be a very challenging time to be a journalist, but I don't have to tell you how important it is to be a journalist right now. And I will leave you, I guess, with this thought. There's a lot of people who love to point out that journalism is a business. It is. It is absolutely a business, and we have to be aware of business realities. But there is a reason why it is the only business mentioned by name in the Constitution. It is a terribly important and vital part of a functioning democracy. I've covered a lot of stories from places where they don't have a free and open press. I've done 3 documentaries in Russia. I've done 2 in China. I've done 1 in Cuba. You don't want any part of being a citizen in those places where the flow of information is so infected with the overbearing nature of a government that really wants to control what its people knows. And I beg you to fight against anybody who tries to inhibit or infringe on the press protections that we have built into American society. Now, nobody should be allowed to spread falsehoods. You know, the old line is that there is freedom of speech, but you're not allowed to yell fire in a crowded movie theater. Absolutely right. The truth is what will get us through. When I first started journalism school at the University of Kansas, from my very first day in class, I was taught that the truth was the most important tool in my toolbox, and that it would get me through anything. So I have obsessed for 35 years now about making sure that I am reporting the truth and that I'm reporting it as accurately as possible. People who think that reporters are just so willy-nilly with the truth, of course, I can find reporters who aren't as careful with the truth as they should be, just like I can find some chefs who don't always clean their cutting boards like they should. But by and large, chefs do all clean their cutting boards, and reporters are obsessed with the truth. We sit bolt upright in bed at night going, oh, did I say that she was born in 1967 when I should have said 68? Did I get that right? Did I get that wrong? That's the obsessive compulsive nature of being a reporter, is being obsessed with truth. Now, right now, we have a White House that plays very fast and loose with the truth. And I don't care how you feel about politics. I don't care if you're on the right or if you're on the left. The truth does not sit on the right or the left. The truth is what the truth is. And that needs to remain the compass of reporters, no matter what anybody, you got to be able to put up with a whole lot of abuse, which I do every day on Twitter, Facebook, and emails and phone calls. But as long as I am staying with the truth, then I am fulfilling my obligations and my duties as a reporter. And we can argue over story choice and story placement and things like that. Those are really good, healthy arguments to have. But we can't be arguing about the truth. There are no alternative facts. The facts are what the facts are, and the truth is what I hope will guide you as you consider this profession that I believe to be profoundly important. So I'm so glad that I got to spend a little bit of time with you here just by video. But of course, video is my business, isn't it? And maybe it'll be yours too. So thanks so much for the time, and go forth and conquer.
Thanks, Devin. Now let's get on with the celebration. Each year, MIPA recognizes a select number of outstanding student journalists who are graduating seniors as members of our student journalist staff. This is MIPA's version of an all-state team. Graduating seniors are chosen for the student journalist staff by submitting a portfolio of their work that's judged by a committee of MIPA member advisors. Our first student journalist staff honoree is special because her portfolio was selected to represent Michigan in the National Journalism Education Association's Journalist of the Year contest. To be selected, a student must showcase an impressive variety and depth of journalism experiences across multiple platforms. Julie Heng of Huron High School not only represented our state incredibly well, she was named as one of 6 runners-up for this national honor. That's an incredible feat that only a handful of student journalists from the state of Michigan have ever accomplished. Julie is the editor-in-chief of the Huron-Emery newspaper. Congratulations, Julie. And now let me introduce the remaining 14 members of our 2020 student journalist staff. These individuals also are outstanding student journalists and leaders at their student media programs. MIPA has a plaque for each one of you, which we'll mail home to you very soon. And now let's honor Rebecca Allen of Davison High School. Rebecca is executive producer of DTV. Isabella Bupp of Grand Blanc High School. Isabella is the senior photo editor for the Echo Yearbook. Teresa De Benedetti of Henry Ford II High School. Teresa is editor-in-chief of the Generator newspaper. Haley Grooms of Utica High School. Haley is editor-in-chief of the Arrow newspaper. Nathaniel Hoffman of East Lansing High School. Nate is editor-in-chief of the Senied Yearbook. Madeline Holmes of Troy High School. Madeline is co-editor-in-chief of the Gladiator Yearbook. Isaac McKenna of Ann Arbor Community High School. Isaac is an editor-in-chief of the Communicator news magazine. Julian McKenzie of Grand Blanc High School. Julian is co-editor-in-chief of the Echo Yearbook. Imran Siddiqui of Grosse Pointe South High School. Imran is editor-in-chief of the Tower newspaper. Abby Sizemore of Fenton High School. Abby is photo editor of the Fentonian Yearbook and Fenton Imprint newspaper. Cameron Tarico of Ann Arbor Community High School. Cameron is an editor-in-chief of the Communicator news magazine. Gracie Warda of Fenton High School. Gracie is the online editor-in-chief of the Fenton Imprint newspaper. Hallie Welter of Grand. Hallie is Echo Yearbook. And Morgan Womack of Grand Haven High School. Morgan is co-editor-in-chief of the Bucks Blade newspaper. Ladies and gentlemen, that is MIPA's 2020 student journalist staff. Congratulations to all of you for your outstanding work. From the group of students that you just met, MIPA selects its highest honor for student journalists in the state of Michigan, the All-MIPA Award. This award recognizes the top students in each of the following focus areas: digital media, news design, news writing and reporting, photojournalism, broadcast, yearbook writing, and yearbook design. The graduating seniors we're about to recognize are the best of the best in their respective fields of expertise. The All-MIPA Award comes with a $500 scholarship paid to the student's college or university. Each All-MIPA honoree is selected by a committee of MIPA advisors. Members of that committee will introduce each of this year's All-MIPA honorees. To announce our first All-MIPA recipient, here's Ava Butsu of Grand Blanc High School, who chaired the All-MIPA News Design Selection Committee. Ava?
Thanks, Jeremy. As a freshman in his first year on his newspaper staff, this student traveled to Flint to cover an immigration protest. Although he, like all green journalists, was terrified of this new experience, it was the spark that lit the fire for what he calls his value for the wide-ranging opinion of others. His advisor calls him inquisitive, passionate, and intelligent. His peers say that he empowers them and he is an inspiring mentor. His designs are intuitive and they expertly package stories to showcase verbal and visual material to be more meaningful for his readers. I'm proud to announce that the winner of the All-MIPA 2020 News Design category is Isaac McKenna of Community High School. Congratulations, Isaac. And now I'd like to introduce Marilyn Hess of Plainwell High School, who chaired the All-MIPA News Writing and Reporting Selection Committee. Marilyn.
This student has 10 separate categories of work in her portfolio, and that depth and breadth of quality work put her on the judging committee's radar as a top choice right from the start. Her journalism experience goes beyond the school audience. She has reported for the Detroit Free Press, even scoring a front page story, and for youth radio. This person describes herself as a storyteller and a truth seeker, and thinks both parts are important to reach her goal of being a history maker. It is our great pleasure to announce the winner of the All-MIPA 2020 News Writing and Reporting, Julie Heng from Ann Arbor Huron High School. And now I'd like to introduce Caitlin Edgerton of Grosse Pointe South High School, who chaired the All-MIPA Digital Media Selection Committee.
Hey, Wooly. Stop messing around. Wooly, it's time for the All-MIPA Digital Media Award.
This year's All-MIPA digital journalist describes their entryway into journalism as a shy individual who finds their path and niche amongst others in the classroom. During their 4 years, they grew by redesigning a website covering hard-hitting stories and taking on the job as online editor-in-chief. They state that they grew over 4 short years, stating that journalism has trained them to now be an unapologetic, bold, ambitious person, changing them for the better. Her current advisor describes this individual as a well-spoken, organized, and dedicated person who is dedicated to the success of the program. Her peers describe her as somebody who has drive, somebody who wants to leave the program better than when they found it. And this speaks volumes for this young journalist's character. And her former advisor at Fenton High School states this student is constantly moving toward a goal that betters the in-print staff and program. Journalists, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the 2020 All-MIPA recipient for digital media from Fenton High School in Fenton, Gracie Warda.
Thanks, Caitlin. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Ashman of Holt High School. Sarah chaired the All-MIPA Photojournalism Selection Committee. Sarah?
This student admits that when she joined Yearbook as a sophomore, it was a last-minute decision. Now the photo editor of an award-winning publication as a senior, she admits that it didn't take long for it to all make sense, to understand the power of sharing stories and watching the impact of those stories on her peers as they flipped the pages of the book she had poured her heart, soul, and images into. Her leadership is celebrated amongst her fellow staffers, with one asserting that her own photography skills had grown notably under this student, who encourages, appreciates, and brings attention to her work like no one else does. Meanwhile, her advisor declares with confidence that photography is what this student was born to do. And furthermore, her images back up this assertion in spades. They capture the color and life of the full school experience vividly, while still demonstrating, and with great versatility, the impeccable skill in the areas of composition, editing, and manual shooting. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce your 2020 All-MIPA recipient for photojournalism from Grand Blanc High School, Isabella Bupp.
Thanks, Sarah. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Beth Badalamenti from Ann Arbor Huron High School. Sarah Beth chaired the All-MIPA Broadcast Selection Committee. Sarah Beth?
This year's All-MIPA broadcast winner has always loved stories. This is probably why she was the first ever underclassman to serve as an executive producer at her school, covering topics like vaping deaths, school safety, teen pregnancy, rising water levels in the Great Lakes, President Trump, and media ownership set her apart from other reporters. When going through her portfolio, this All-MIPA winner is a natural on camera. She's talented and a great news gatherer. She has won numerous awards from MIPA, NSPA, and the Flint Youth Film Festival. She hopes to study journalism and creative writing this fall to fulfill what she calls her mission. I'm pleased to announce this year's All-MIPA broadcast winner, Rebecca Allen from Davison High School. And now Elizabeth Sear of Stockbridge High School will present our All-MIPA awards for yearbook writing and yearbook design.
Thank you, Sarah Beth. While both highly visual and verbal, this student excelled in math throughout high school, always taking the toughest math courses offered. Yet as a sophomore, she found that her ability to tell people's stories through visuals and words really more distinctly captured her interests. Enter yearbook, where she found that the work was much more than a journalistic experience. It became an opportunity for her to find herself. Her advisor observed this duality in her, commenting how Haley is a great student of life, of her peers, of how systems function or flounder, of how life's quirky and unexpected setbacks will sometimes get us. Her observant nature contributed to her genuine care for others' stories. A peer even noted that she constantly gave both staffers and editors a way to direct their stories. and she always empowered people, helping them find their own voices. That quality came through as her judges noted that this leader supports her peers and makes a wonderful yearbook experience for a lot of people. For these reasons, I'm honored to announce that the All-MIPA 2020 yearbook writing winner is Haley Welter of the Echo Yearbook staff at Grand Blanc High School. I'm equally honored to present our winner for the All-MIPA 2020 yearbook design category. This student's confident. No, he's bold. He takes risks and he makes them work. His peers say that his confidence in the quality and the radicalness of his ideas makes him seem fearless. And because of this approach, he continues to set the bar for trends and groundbreaking content for his award-winning yearbook. What seemed most endearing about this leader was that while his team described him as all that a journalist and a leader should be, his determination was delivered in a relaxed manner, allowing him to perform as a leader that others are more than willing to follow. This may be because he constantly showed empathy to his staff, remembering what it was like to fret as a freshman designer and maturing into a leader who understands the positivity to be found in constructive criticism. His advisor describes him as a leader who has cultivated a magical formula. He enchants and motivates his staffs, conjuring up a 25-hour day to explore and extend his ideas and to push trends on behalf of the students at Grand Blanc High School. Congratulations, Julian McKenzie, Editor-in-Chief of the Echo Yearbook and winner of the All-MIPA 2020 Yearbook Design category.
Congratulations to all of our All-MIPA nominees. Now, some of you may know that MIPA was forced to cancel our in-person summer journalism workshop at Michigan State University. But we're excited to tell you now that we have developed an online program that will run in the month of July. We'll have information posted on our website next week, and you'll be able to begin signing up for those classes soon. But until then, here's a little bit more information.
So you bagged him. I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Sassy, moody, nasty.
I miss my students. I miss MIPA.
7 a.m. It's quarantine morning, bedtime. Set my alarm to get me back up at 3. Waking up to 100 staff message lineup. MIPA camp is online. Oh my gosh, it's my dream. So I joined my staff Zoom, or maybe 2 or 3. The yearbook staff is planning our best ever theme. Newspapers redesigning, broadcast has a dream. We're wondering when will this camp begin?
Head to MIPAMSU.org to get more details.
And now the John V. Field Award for contributions to scholastic journalism. John Field, better known as Jack, was a University of Michigan journalism professor and executive director of MIPA until his retirement in 1972, when MIPA moved from the University of Michigan to Central Michigan University. In 1982, MIPA would move again to Michigan State. But in 1972, when Jack retired, MIPA decided to honor him by giving him the first John V. Field Award for contributions to scholastic journalism. This award recognizes a person who is not currently a student media advisor for their significant contributions to scholastic journalism in the state of Michigan. Over the years, recipients of this award have included professional journalists, college educators, media organizations, and mentors. This year, MIPA is pleased to recognize Brian Roberts. Brian is an instructional technologist at Central Michigan University. That means he helps teachers be better teachers by using technology. But Brian is also an outstanding photographer and educator in his own right, and that's how MIPA mostly knows Brian Roberts. For more than 16 years, Brian shared his experience, knowledge, and skills with students at the MIPA Summer Journalism Workshop, where he was a photo instructor and technology wizard until 2014. Just as importantly, Brian is one of the most fun and caring guys you could ever meet. In 2017, when he was no longer working for MIPA and our summer workshop, Brian rallied together donations from other former workshop faculty and friends to provide a scholarship to students to attend our program at Michigan State University. It's a tradition he's continued every year since. And so, for his support of MIPA and scholastic journalism in Michigan, the Michigan Interscholastic Press Association is proud to honor our friend Brian Roberts with the John V. Field Award. Congratulations. Journalism has a variety of benefits for students. It teaches core language arts skills, of course, but also helps instill a sense of civic duty in young people. And perhaps most importantly, it helps students find and develop their own voice. Each year, MIPA looks for an administrator who recognizes these values in journalism, someone who understands that journalism is an asset for schools across the state and wants to have these core skills included in their own curriculum. We look for principals, superintendents, and others who go above and beyond to support student voices in journalism in their schools. Grand Haven High School newspaper and yearbook advisor C.E. Sickinga will introduce this year's Administrator of the Year, his principal. C.E.?
Hi, my name is C.E. Sickinga, and I advise the Bucks Blade newspaper and the Blue and Gold yearbook at Grand Haven High School. And today it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Tracy Wilson, my principal, as MIPA's 2020 Administrator of the Year. When I think of why Tracy is deserving of this award, there are so many reasons. One of the first ones is she has always supported our kids, both through, verbal support, promoting their work through social media, giving them access. They always know they can go down to her office, ask a tough question, get an honest answer. She'll keep them in the loop, and she'll treat them honestly and as professionals. And that kind of access and that kind of honesty is so greatly appreciated. She is very, very real. Secondly, I've always appreciated that, and she's told me this many times over the years, she doesn't have any interest in micromanaging the publication. As she puts it, that's why there's an adult in the room who's trained to do that. And having that support from the office, as you all know, is just wonderful in helping make what can be a stressful job less stressful. And even then, there are times when you're a publication advisor that there are those awkward conversations you have with administrators when something pops up. And what I love is if she needs to know something, if she's gotten a phone call, she doesn't start off by saying, hey, there's a problem. It's always phrased in a way of, hey, I need to ask you something, or what was the process behind this? She always wants to understand before she criticizes, which is just absolutely wonderful. And because of all those things and the kind of person she is, she's had a tremendous impact on our program. The last 9 years, she's been a principal, a decade or more before that as an assistant principal, and even going back to before when I advised when she was a teacher. But certainly as an administrator, because our kids can go out and pursue tough stories when they need to, knowing nobody's going to jump down their back, and I can advise them to do that. We're able to really give our kids the best possible experience. And when they go off to journalism experiences beyond high school, they say they're more prepared in many ways, they feel, than some of their peers. And that's because we have a person like Tracy in the office. So, those are just a few reasons why we were so proud and so happy and excited to nominate her for this. And Tracy, congratulations. Thank you. And as you always like to say, go Bucks!
Our final award today recognizes a teacher. The Golden Pen is the highest award bestowed on a student media advisor by the Michigan Interscholastic Press Association. It's our version of the Teacher of the Year award. Golden Pen teachers are the best of the best. They make such an impact on their students that current and former staffers from their student publications are willing to spend hours and hours putting together a portfolio to showcase the advisor's work. A committee of previous Golden Pen winners examined all of the portfolios that were submitted for this year's Golden Pen Award. These portfolios included letters of support from current and former staff members, testimonials from administrators, letters of support from colleagues and others, and other evidence to support the outstanding work of this teacher, including contributions to the greater scholastic journalism community. This year, an amazing 9 advisors were nominated by their students for the Golden Pen Award. That's a huge number, and it speaks to the important work that our scholastic media advisors are doing all over the state of Michigan. You are making a difference in the lives of all of your students, whether you're in the classroom with them or connecting with them virtually. We're going to recognize each one of these 9 advisors. We've also compiled all of the nomination materials, and we'll be sending those materials electronically to these 9 advisors shortly, and we'll have paper versions for you to keep that we'll mail to you soon. And so with that, let's introduce you to the 9 Golden Pen Award nominees for this year. Ava Butzu of Grand Blanc High School. Ava is the advisor of the Echo Yearbook. Cami Hall from H.H. Dow High School. Cami is the advisor of the Update newspaper and Charger Yearbook. Christina Hammett from Cheryl Stockwell Preparatory Academy. Christina is the advisor of the Citadel newspaper and the Sentinel Yearbook. Cody Harrell of East Lansing High School. Cody is the advisor of the Seniad Yearbook and the Portrait newspaper. Rachel Matz of Bloomfield Hills High School. Rachel is the advisor of the Hawkeye newspaper and website. Stephanie Orth of Lake Orion High School. Stephanie is the advisor of the Dragon Yearbook. Michael Schmidt of Dearborn High School. Schmitty is the advisor of the Pioneer Press newspaper. Stacy Smale of Utica High School. Stacy is the advisor of the Arrow newspaper and website and the Warrior Yearbook. Amanda Steger of Annapolis High School. Amanda is the advisor of the Cougar Crier newspaper. And now I'm honored to introduce last year's Golden Pen Award winner, a person who you saw just a short time ago. C.E. Sickinga is the advisor for the newspaper and yearbook at Grand Haven High School, and he gets the honor of introducing you to the 2020 Golden Pen Award winner.
Hi there, my name is C.E. Sickinga. I am MIPA's newspaper chair, and today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to the 2020 Golden Pen Advisor. And if you're not familiar with this award, it's kind of a combination of Teacher of the Year and Lifetime Achievement Award. And this person is incredibly deserving. Now, of course, it's kind of a little game we play. I have to give you all these details about the person without giving away too many hints. And you have to sit there and guess who it is. And hopefully I don't prattle along, for such a long time that you get bored with it all. So let's start off and talk a little bit about what this person's former students and others have said about them in letters of nomination. They talk about their hard work, high expectations, relentlessness, an unshakable faith in humanity. This person is described as a top-notch coach with a big heart who pushes their students to explore their passions. One former staff member wrote that the person is, and I quote, a master of recognizing an individual's strengths and weaknesses. A bad coach might use this to manipulate a person, but they temper those qualities to foster growth. And this person's unwavering leadership skills, as another person have described it, has allowed their publication to have tremendous success. They've won a Spartan Award every year since 2006, with the exception of 2009, which of course causes me to wonder about the qualifications of the judge in 2009. They've been a pacemaker finalist. Their work has been featured in magazines and publications that we all look at for good work. And you don't get there, by coasting. And this person's supporters praise their work ethic. Person is described as always learning something new and always bringing that in to their classroom. Here comes some hints. They say she's always pushing them to do greater work and not to rest on their laurels. Every Tuesday, she takes home 4 to 6 new yearbook spreads, hint, hint, to mark up with comments by the next day. And every Wednesday, it's 3 hours of copy that she takes home and edits. I don't know, how do you do all this? How do you stay sane? Perhaps it's through the practice of yoga. Big hint. This person, and I think you might know who it is by now, but another of her staff members praised her as a master of managing, a master of thinking, a master of learning, a master of relearning, a master of questioning, and I think we can praise her as a master of MIPA. She's fond of telling her yearbook students that they're making a forever book, and now she gets to win a forever award, and nobody's ever been more deserving. So please, wherever you are right now, rise and give a standing ovation to your 2020 Golden Penna winner, my friend and yours from Grand Blanc High School, Ava Butsu. Congratulations.
And that concludes today's Special Recognition Awards program. Thank you so much for joining all of us here at MIPA as we celebrated today's honorees. We'll be announcing more awards next week with our individual category awards contest. Stay tuned to MIPA's website and social media pages for a schedule of those events. Please stay safe and healthy, stay connected with each other, and I hope to see you in person really soon. Thanks.